A Las Vegas man has pleaded guilty to a count of voter fraud with regard to the 2020 election. A man by the name of Donald Hartle, goes by the name of Kirk though, admitted that yes, he did use his dead wife's name to vote for Donald Trump twice in the 2020 election. Voted under his name, then voted under his wife's name, who passed away from cancer in the year 2017. And the judge in the case, Judge Kearney, gave him probation and a $2,000 fine. And you're on your way. Oh, and if you stay out of trouble for the next year, then you can withdraw your plea to the felony charge of voter fraud and then just plead guilty to the misdemeanor charge of conspiracy to commit voter fraud. So you won't lose your right to vote, even though you abused your right to vote. Because the judge said that, hey, this was just a political stunt, and it actually showed that our voting system is secure here because he got busted. So, hey, win-win for everybody, including the guy that committed voter fraud. A guy who, by the way, let's see, Hartle is the chief financial officer at Ahern Rentals, which hosted a rally for former President Donald Trump last September and was cited for violating coronavirus protocols. The umbrella company hosted a Q conference in October at the Ahern Hotel off the Las Vegas Strip. So this guy's pretty deep into MAGA world. But it gets even worse than that. Because he lied to the Nevada Republican Party. He lied to the media in interviews when this fraud was uncovered. Here's what happened. Let me read this. This is a tweet from the Nevada GOP posted November 10th of last year. Disbelief and sickening. That's how Kirk Hartle feels about someone voting in his deceased wife's name. How did the forged signature pass Clark County signature verification machine? And this isn't the only case of a deceased person voting in Nevada. It didn't pass. That's how he got busted, actually. And you interviewed him, and he acted like, oh my God, my poor deceased wife voted. Oh, whoever did this is horrible. I'm sickened. And it was him the whole dang time. And then he told the I-Team News in Las Vegas this last year. This is pretty sickening to me, to be honest with you. It was disbelief. It made no sense to me. But it lent some credence to what you've been hearing in the media about these possibilities, and now it makes me wonder, how pervasive is this? So he tried to use his own voter fraud that nobody knew was him at the time to use that as an example of how bad voter fraud is in the country. And this judge lets him off with a year of probation and a $2,000 fine. By contrast, you may remember the name Crystal Mason. Crystal Mason was an African-American woman in the state of Texas who was on probation but still voted in the 2016 election because she was not aware that while you were on probation, you were not legally allowed to vote. So her vote didn't count. It was caught. They did not count the vote. And she was sentenced to 5 years in prison for voting when she didn't know she could. Now, earlier this year, she did appeal that sentence. You know, we're waiting for that appeal to happen. 5 years in prison for voting when you weren't supposed to. This man went out there, knowingly voted in his dead wife's name for Donald Trump, and then lied to the Republican Party, lied to the media, tried to use this as a catalyst to show people how bad voter fraud is when he's the one who committed it himself. This, folks, is a miscarriage of justice. Mr. Hartle should have been given some kind of prison sentence. I don't care if it's 6 months, a year, whatever. He did this intentionally, and then he lied about it and tried to use it for political advantage. This sentence is less than a slap on the wrist for what this man did.